You're not phoning it in. I'm phoning it in.
Oh, okay.
It's
sure. Steal my shtick, man.
like
I get it.
Pandemic, month 6.
Is it over yet?
We're still talking.
Yeah,
playing,
we are.
playing, not so much. Talking, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Welcome to Mob Rules. I am John, joined by
Danny.
And it's been a fun 2 weeks. We're local COVID cases, the Rona exploding up here.
Like double.
It's crazy. So our ability to play has been removed. Quashed. Any hopes of anything happening anytime soon, gone. We got to see our mayor's ass way too much.
Oh my God.
A sexting scandal happened.
Yeah, Google Anchorage Mayor, you'll see.
Yeah, it's... We'll make you see. I think our fellow podcasts on the Rogue Trader Network.
Oh yeah, we made them see.
We made them see because people kept on sending the picture like around to us. I'm like, I don't want to see it anymore. But it's been a great 2 weeks. It's been a very hypothetical 2 weeks for me. I got to say, I've made a ton of lists.
Yeah.
Done a ton of jank.
As you will.
As I am wont to do. I'm obsessed with flesh hounds now. That's my new jank.
Oh, nice.
That I want to make work. Like I desperately want to. But the problem is the more I talk to you and kind of the more competent I get with the Chaos Codexes in general, the more depressed I get when I get excited about something. Because I look at flesh hounds and man, great models.
Holy cow, those fantastic.
Amazing. And I'm like, I think I told you, I want to run 30 of them. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then I read the profile. And man, I should read the profile before buying models.
I mean, they're not the worst. But they're also not like,
So there's a couple of really cool things about them. Like they give you a Deny the Witch, which is super cool. Like technically if you max out your units, you can have 3 Deny the Witches in a corn army, which is really nice.
Right. And they fulfill that kind of anti-psycho role on that list.
Yeah, for sure. They're fast. They have some AP, and their attacks aren't terrible. And then when properly buffed for like a Locust character, then they're not awful.
Yeah, so they get like 3 strength 6 attacks each.
Yeah,
the Locust.
Yeah, there's ways to do it. There's just like little things there that I'm like, huh, and like I'm trying to figure out like Karanak, best doggo, character flesh hound.
Yeah,
buffs flesh hounds in absolutely 0 ways.
Yeah, that seems like a misstep. I mean, he definitely used to have a Locust that you could use, and he would like buff flesh hounds around him. In Age of Sigmar, he howls and summons a unit of flesh hounds, actually.
I mean, that would be rad. I mean, technically, I guess in 40k, he could summon a unit of flesh hounds.
Sure, but they don't have to pay points for it in AOS either. So it's like a free unit of flesh hounds.
And then, I mean, he gives 2 denies, which is kind of nice. And he's a pretty good puppy for like 75 points, I think he is in 40k, which isn't terrible for like a speedy corn combat character. But just general looking at it and then looking at, say, Thunderwolf Cavalry.
Sure.
And Thunderwolves. Where I'm like, this is objectively just better.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, and form.
I mean, if you compare them to Blood Crushers, which is probably the more like apt comparison, they still just blow them out.
I was going to say, where are you going with this? Because
not to a good place, I'll tell you that.
So yeah, I'll be making a bunch of monocorn lists that I'm actually super excited about. There's like the one I'm looking at right now is like 90 bloodletters over 4 units.
Nice.
Some flesh hounds just to basically run up and grab things, like not for anything else really. They're just super speedy little objective grabbers.
Okay, yeah.
A couple of bloodthirsters in there just because those guys are amazing looking models.
And they do a lot of close combat work if they make it, and even more importantly, they draw a lot of fire if they don't.
Yeah, and so when Danny and I were recording the Newcron and the Space Marine Codex reviews, which go, by the way, check out. We split them up into a few videos. I mean, great books all around. But we were talking about the viability of a 7 Bloodthirster army, which I think we were able to sort of make work. So it was like 6, but you gave 1 the relic where it came back if it died.
Right.
But then we started looking deeper into it. Like, that's the problem with jank. Like, high level looks fantastic.
Right.
And then when you start looking at it, and I'm like, oh, Bloodthirsters degrade in a really stupid way.
Yeah, they degrade poorly.
Very poorly, very quickly. And then it was like, oh, well, we could do... Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, man.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Mini Stomp lost out in a like $600 Bloodthirster order because like doing that. I think what really sealed it for me was we were waiting for like the memory card to clear off so I could start editing the Necron while you film the Space Marine one. And we are talking about it, and we did some dice roll offs, and I think it was like a Bloodthirster against 1 unit of intercessors.
Yeah. Oh, he just wasn't finishing them off,
and he couldn't kill a 5-man squad of intercessors by himself.
Or it was like he would, but it was really close. Like it was like
I would have to be rolling really hot. And as much as I like my literal embodiments of Gods of Rage, what I don't want them to do is barely kill a troop choice for the main unit.
And that's not even, we're not even talking like heavy intercessors here, guys. We're just talking regular intercessors.
And then we pulled him up against the Nightbringer because we were looking at the Necron Codex. And he just got flattened by a small piece of a god. So it was sobering, but it's still fun. And I'm excited to run a couple of them and kind of do some janky things with Bloodthirsters.
Yeah.
I think it should be pretty fun. I've started working on Death Guard again, list-wise. I was going to, for the longest time, one of the listeners of the Best in Faction podcast, it was running this really fun list where it's like 9 Blight Haulers.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And that Great Unclean One kind of buffing them and keeping on bringing them back. And then Mortarians there too. So I was like, it looks fun. I'm just going to run that. But then when we've organized to play each other, like today, I guess, or Saturday, and I was like, I'm just going to take this list. And I pulled all the models and I lined it up. And after going from like 50, 60 models to that list, I'm like,
right. Oh, and that list is like 20 models.
If that.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's like, 9, 10, like 17. And it's just like a huge curve for me to be like, that's really not a lot. And then I look at it and I'm like, well, I'm going to want to start Mortarion in reserve so I can outflank him, which means he's gone for half the game.
Right.
And that's 500 points of my army gone. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't have a good rejoinder for that. I think Mortarion probably works in that list.
Yeah.
I think you keep him on the table and just let him die.
Oh yeah.
And then your Blight Haulers just win the game. I think that's maybe how you do it. And like kind of if you swarm the objectives with the Blight Haulers and actually physically block people off of them.
Yeah.
I think you could like take objectives that way.
Which I think is like how that list usually works.
Sure.
But again, I think we were talking about it last week about how just investing that amount of points in one model that is solely there to die. Just
that's kind of depressing. I totally get that.
Doesn't give me the feel goods.
No, I understand.
And especially when I was talking to my wife about it, and she was like, "Well, why are you taking that guy off?" And I'm like, "Well, look what I replace him with." So I took like Mortarion off, and I replaced him with like 6 more Nurglings, an entire Plague Marine squad, and a drill. With the buffing characters to do like the Blight Grenade Bomb.
I replace him with instant mortal wounds.
Like instant 50 mortal wounds or whatever stupid thing it is. So I'm like, yeah, this is probably the right call. And I'm used to like tactically moving that drill about anyway. So it kind of melds the two ideas together.
Sure.
And it, no longer, technically, I'm no longer net listing. Therefore, it's your own unique creation. It's my own unique creation that's totally stolen from like multiple other people. I painted up a unit of Flash Hounds. They turned out really nice. They went really quickly. I started base coating 90 Bloodletters because I'm going to actually batch paint them as one batch of 90. So I have 46 white right now, so 44 more to go.
Racist.
And then I'm going to do 90 is gray, and it's going to be awful. I'm going to hate Bloodletters by the end of it, but I'll have 90 painted and ready to go. And that's the important thing. I came across a Karanak by going into a store specifically to buy one. And then,
oh man, that's such a good joke.
Yeah. And then I picked up the new Imperial Guard primer. It's a new updated primer, but I think some of the forms in there are new, and it's a really nice.
I need to order it.
It's a really nice book. They did a good job, and I love like the in character stuff and the stupid things like the punishment for attempting to kill yourself is to get shot. Like just there's a lot of like really nice little jokes in there about it. I continued my Siege of Terra journey by about 3/4 of the way through the first wall.
I started mine.
Yeah.
I started with what's the
when they're hanging around Uranus.
Yeah.
Which made me giggle quite profusely.
And they sure did talk about it. I like, is Uranus holding? And I'm just kind of sitting there like laughing quietly to myself.
Yeah, it's a good chuckle. But it's a good book. I think right now, like Lost in the Damned is still like a high mark for me because
I'm hyped to get there.
It's just so many little character moments that I'm like, that's why they're like that in the 41st millennium, which I think is like the thing for me. Whereas The Last Wall seems to be a lot of piece moving to get people to the right areas for the next book.
It's a consolidation book.
Right, for sure. Like, I mean, that's how I'm reading it just now. Maybe I'm totally wrong. There's some couple of cool Iron Warrior things, like Perturabo just being a little dick because he is will to be. But for me, it seems to be like, okay, we need to have these people here. We need to have this person here. We need to do these things. So it's generally, those aren't quite as enjoyable as, like, say, something like The Lost and the Damned, where it's all, payoff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's one of the reasons I think Saturnine is as like, man, all of our friends are just talking about how great that book
I know
is.
I need to get there, and like it's so frustrating. I'm like 4 books that I have to read to get there.
You need to get through like 40 hours of audio to get there. It's terrible.
That's okay, I will.
You will. But that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to?
Oh, okay. So, what have I been up to since the last time we spoke? Let's see. Number 1, I played one game with the new Newcron book.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did pretty good in that game. I was able to,
because that was against Taylor.
Yeah. So he brought his Skitarii horde. And he was playing. He had like I think it's like 120 or 150 models, something like that.
It was pretty ridiculous.
It's a lot of Skitarii, right? I think it's 6 units of 10 Vanguard and 3 units of 10 Rangers, and then like 20 of the sword or the shield and spear guys, the hoplites.
Yeah, and it's like a list that works because it's just. I just win primary. And
then it's also 15 horses and also 10 Skystalkers. And like it's got everything in it. And some of it's Mars and some of it is Graia. So they get a 6-up, basically feel no pain when they die.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's kind of better because they only have to roll 1 6 to come back instead of like 2 if it's a 2 damage weapon.
Yeah.
So kind of like Necrons. So my first turn was not good. Like I rolled up against his army and I shot some stuff. I killed nothing, which was great because I definitely took Killmore as one of the secondaries for my list.
Isn't that like the most depressing thing when you take a secondary and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. This is gonna be great, and you go through an entire turn and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, I think I got 12 points for that one, just because it wasn't until later on that I was able to start getting Killmore. And then he struck back. The list that I played, I should just talk about that.
Real quick. You probably should.
So my list was an Overlord, 1 Cryptek with the Canoptic Control Node, and a Royal Warden.
Okay.
And then 20 Warriors, 2 units of 10 Warriors. I had 2 Ghost Arcs, a unit of 5 Scorpack Destroyers, 2 units of 5 Scarabs, the Nightbringer. That was a cool model.
Sure. Yeah. Is he any good now? I haven't heard.
So we'll go over how he did in this.
Okay.
Game. And then a unit of 3 Canoptic Spiders with the
testicles.
Yeah, testicles. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They had a Gloom Prism and 2 of the Repair Claws, which didn't come into play at all.
Please don't refer to your junk as Gloom Prism.
My seed is gloomy, John. I'm sorry, I can't help it.
It's Lovecraftian.
It's Eldritch.
It's like an Amazon
Eldritch seed,
and an Amazon like romance novel, whereas like his
can't
gloom
even describe the color.
His Gloom Prism like throbbed with Eldritch seed.
The color was out of space. It was amazing.
Why did I take the drum, like the boots off here? No, man, I gotta fix this. Yeah, bad move.
Real amateur move. All right. Anyway, so we played the game. We set up. I had a shitty first turn. Taylor came back. He's like, oh, yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to kill this unit of Scarabs and both your Ghost Arcs. And I'm like,
or he called it ahead of time.
No. I mean, that's just what ended up happening.
Okay, I thought he was like the start of his turn. I'm like, okay, this is what's happening.
I even made this awesome 12-inch charge with my scarabs on the first turn to get onto an objective. Or it wasn't actually 12. It was like 10. But I rolled an 11 and made it. And then he did the fallback strat with 1 unit of horses because I charged 2 units of horses, and I'm like, oh, they're stretched out like 6 inches apart. Well, I guess we'll just have to string out 5 scarabs so they're on the objective, but also touching all the horses.
It's real big brain because they hurt when they shoot.
Yeah. It turns out that the horses can actually fight in combat and have like 80 attacks each or something. I don't know. They have like 3 attacks each.
Oh no.
Anyway, so they killed enough scarabs that 1 unit escaped, but the other unit was stuck, and that was what was important.
Yeah.
So then on his turn, he killed those scarabs, taking me off that objective, and then also killed, what was it? The 2 Ghost Arcs, which was a big pain because that was like a large part of my recursion. All I had left was the Relic Orb on my Overlord and the Cryptech. Sorry, the Technomancer. I'm still getting used to the naming convention.
Yeah, there's no such thing as Cryptex anymore.
Right. Well, it is. It's a keyword.
No.
But it's not denoting any one particular model. There's like a group of them.
It's like a family of them.
They're all science wizards. Not to be confused with Mr. Wizard, which was a fantastic show. Anyway, so then my turn was like the revenge of the Necrons. They just came out like guns blazing.
I think that was one of the Warhammer Adventures kid books.
Yeah, Revenge of the Necron.
Revenge of the Necron.
I think it was. Are you sure it wasn't Attack of the Necron? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, Nightbringer pops out from behind cover, and he is pissed.
Sure. He's probably lost his 3 wounds.
He hasn't.
Oh,
he's lost no wounds because I hit him successfully, and I made Taylor shoot at other stuff, which was good. So he declined to fire shots at the Nightbringer.
And that's why he's mad. He needs all the attention.
Right. He's just a big old attention hog. So Nightbringer jumps over some ruins in the middle of the table, and he mortal wounds a ton of stuff. Like, I think he does... So I rolled his Gaze of Death power on 1 unit of Skitarii and killed like 7 of them. Just because.
Okay.
Yep. And then I did the Sky of Falling Stars and killed a bunch more. Then I ran into combat, killed his warlord, and also another unit of Skitarii at the same time because there was only like 2 guys left or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after I killed those guys, I consolidated into 2 other squads of Skitarii. Now the problem with this is that he had the omniscient mask, so his guys got to reroll hits in close combat, and even though he was still wounding on 6s, he managed to put through 3 wounds on Nightbringer on my turn.
Oh.
And so then on his turn, he has a warlord trait that lets him shoot into close combat.
Mm-hmm.
So he shot me for 3 wounds and then fought me for 3 more and killed me.
It's a real big brain.
It was a good move. I mean, he had to kill me, and then I exploded because the Nightbringer explodes on a 4 for a 6-inch radius of D3 mortal wounds. And I did like 3 mortal wounds to like 4 units, and then like 2 mortal wounds to a bunch of characters and stuff. So I think Nightbringer, over the course of the two like turns, I think he did like 25 mortal wounds or something like that. So cool. That was fun.
It was something.
Yeah, no, it was great. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so basically the long story short of this game, right, is that because I was playing Nihilak and my warriors were on objectives, I was able to keep him from controlling any objectives. And this was on that data intercept mission where you do the action on the terminal.
Mm-hmm.
You know the one I'm talking about, the one that we played the very first time.
Yeah.
And so I controlled 4 objectives twice on a 6 objective mission and got 4 secondary points twice on that, like boom, boom. And then I was getting kill more every other turn that game. And so Taylor didn't score any primary points until turn 5.
Oh.
So he only scored 5.
Which he's not used to doing with that list.
No, yeah, and like he couldn't keep up with me killing and holding objectives. Like I was able to really push him off and keep him off, and he wasn't able to get back on them. So that was harsh.
Very.
So good win to the Necrons. I got a pretty good score out of that. I think I don't know if Taylor does better going first, probably, because he gets onto more objectives. But it kind of just it ended up not being a great matchup for him, I think. So then I've got some hobby progress done.
Oh, what'd you do?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You didn't even talk about your blight haulers.
Oh yeah, I bought and assembled 4 blight haulers so I could have the requisite 9.
Yep.
Because what I'm really waiting for is for the Death Guard book to come out and have multi-part blight haulers be released with weapon options to just destroy me internally.
Just wait. They're now in units of 1, and
no, I'm just expecting a and it's like I'm expecting them to come out with like a flamer option for it or something.
Oh man, that would be so good.
Right, and just for me to be like, cool. Guess I have to have 9 more now. Either that or I'll just take a hacksaw to the multi-meltas
and just magnetize them.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would much rather have the multi-melta and lose the rocket launcher.
Oh yeah. Oh, could you imagine a multi-melta flamer?
Dude, that would be so spicy.
That little dude would be so happy just running up the field.
And anyway, driving around, shooting people.
Yeah,
spraying them with filth.
I made
good old time.
I made a skull altar, which no longer exists, but also exists.
But also exists.
Okay, so in the Munitorian Field Manual,
right,
it does not exist. In the app, it does exist. So I'm living in a world where to run my cool guy skull altar that I want to run with my corn stuff, I have to live in a world where a shuriken cannon is strength 65.
Ooh.
And I don't know if I want to play that game. So I think
if time to bring back the Eldar bikes, John.
I think if I just leave the skull altar as like a summoning thing, that means when I play Eldar, I can summon something else and pretend that the app is wrong. But if I don't play Eldar, then I can pretend that it's right.
I see.
And then it's very situational. It's very big brain, very tactical.
I see what you've done here.
Yeah, I've perfected the use of the app.
You're a giant cheater.
But what hobby progress did you do?
So
bearing in mind that we had a giant Necron release about a week ago.
So I bought the cards, the dice for Necrons and Iron Hands. I bought a chaplain on a bike. Yes. Which I also built.
Which is beautiful.
God,
I love that model.
So good. I replaced his head with the yelling head from Indominus on that chaplain.
Oh, yeah.
That looks real good. He looks real mad.
Does he look mad or does he look like he doesn't know how to drive a bike and he's just screaming as it goes forward?
Well,
like,
so the model is actually stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his foot is on the ground. Like he's like kind of...
Well, that's why he's terrified because that bike is going like 1,000,000 miles an hour and his foot is just like rubbing on the ground.
Well, he's trying to make a real quick turn. You know, when you're BMX biking, you stick your foot on the ground and it turns you real quick.
Hell yeah, like the Primera skate park.
There you go.
Yeah, just ramp action.
I can't wait till I get my Razor scooter riders.
I want to see that diorama where it's just like a half pipe with Primaris bikes and regular bikes. The scout bikes are doing like grinds.
They're like the scout bikers are doing the Superman off the...
Hell yeah. Someone wasted money to make a Mario Kart ATV's diorama. Make my damn Primera skate park.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. So let's see. So I got the biker. I also got the Silent King. I got 6 Locust Heavy Destroyers.
They're amazing looking.
They're a cool kit.
Yeah.
And then I got 3 Canoptic Doomstalkers. So I built the Doomstalkers. They're primed and ready to go. So I just need to break out the paints and actually get going on those guys. And then I built 3 of the Heavy Destroyers. I'm waiting on the other 3 because I want to try out what I have built, and then I'll determine how I want to build the other ones.
Because there's weapon options on those guys.
Yeah, there's 2 different weapon options. You have the Strength 10 -4 3d3 damage, one shot, or you have Blast 3d3 Strength 7 -1 damage.
Okay.
So you have an anti-infantry gun and anti-tank gun. And the anti-infantry gun is good. So I built 2 guys with that, and then 1 guy with the Big Bertha, the BFG.
Oh, yeah. Because that gun looks amazing. That's what sold me in that Heavy Destroyer was just that it was just like the gun is ridiculous. Like, why would you even make it that size? And then why would you give it to an insane robot?
Because you have no choice because they're threatening to kill you. At least that's what the fluff is, John.
The life of a quartermaster in a tomb world is a harsh life.
Well, no, what they do is they bully the cryptex into changing their bodies. They're like, we will literally kill you unless you make us into a hover centaur.
It's half man, half robot.
No, a centaur, John.
Danny and I also both watched Mike Tyson Mysteries this week.
Yeah, man, it's so good. So I've been doing that. I've been trying to. I've been building lists just like you. Like I'm building like 4 or 5 lists every day. I built lists for all the indexes the new indexes that came out for Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves. I haven't built the Death Watch one yet because I don't know, Death Watch are stupid.
Yeah, who would play Death Watch?
Losers.
Hey Kevin.
Yep, we love you, buddy. And then I built like a million Necron lists, but we'll talk about Necron lists a little bit later. I'm going to go over some of my favorites.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just the stir craziness right now, right?
Oh my God. It's so bad,
list
man.
building. Like, I know, like, for me, when I was at work, thankfully, I don't think my boss or my employees listen to this, but when I was at work on conference calls on Monday for like 3 hours, I'm just sitting there, like, making lists and just trying to figure out what to do. I think that's where a lot of my corn jank came from, was just like, I want to murder everyone responsible for making me sit through these calls.
For me having to be here. Wasn't even supposed to be here today.
But I think like my thing for Death Guard is like I've played about 10 to 20 games of like the list that I had before with like the spawn, and then I needed something different, right?
Oh,
it's just,
I totally understand.
You need to get out there, but the list I have now, I'm super hyped for it, and I think it'll do really irritatingly well if played well. It's just going to take me a while. There's a lot of intricacy to it. I think that isn't quite just, but it's right in my wheelhouse. Like my stuff, it's all positioning, auras, things like that. I'm going to get screwed by Night Lords if they charge me, and just like turn off your stuff.
Oh, turning off all the auras.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a really big deal.
But again, it's so fun. And like I said, you made a ton of lists. You played your game.
Yep.
Did you build the Silent King entirely yet?
Oh yeah, sorry. I did also build the Silent King, but he's in like 5 pieces. So
I saw a message someone said about the little cryptics at either side of them, like who have like individual fingers that need glued on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a face of frustration I'm getting from Tanner right now.
That's a thing that exists on that model. But I have the Silent King, the Cryptek of the Triarch, and then the Overlord of the Triarch, all glued on 50mm bases separately, and then I have his cloak like attached to a wine cork, and his throne I have in 2 different pieces.
Nice.
So I'm not airbrushing it, I'll tell you that. So it'll be all hand painted when I get it done.
Heck yeah, and I'm sure it's going to look amazing.
I hope so.
Me too. It's like $200 worth of stuff. You'd hope it look good at the end of it, right? We're going to take a break, and we will be right back with something that's probably just as fillery.
Do you have a single wound?
Multiple wounds.
Do you have a single
multiple wounds?
A standard bolt gun? Having trouble maintaining an acceptable Xenos kill count? Only barely over 2 meters tall? Maybe it's time to ask your lieutenant if the Rubicon Primaris is right for you. The Rubicon Primaris is a prescription process that helps you to update that tired look. You may notice an increase in your purging abilities within 2 to 4 hours. You may experience loss of life, additional organs, and a points increase. Do not take the Rubicon if you plan on fitting into rhinos, drop pods, or other traditional vehicles. The Rubicon Primaris is not intended for second founding chapters. The Rubicon Primaris is for use on genetically enhanced super soldiers over the age of 800 only. You are encouraged to report negative side effects to your company's apothecary. The Rubicon Primaris. Because sometimes plot armor is just not enough.
Hey, Danny.
Yo.
I couldn't find the right music again because I didn't do the board, but...
You son of a bitch.
News, drama, community outreach. It's 40KMZ. And now I'll actually hit record in the camera too.
Was that stolen straight out of like an 80s ski movie? Like, because I feel like...
the track is called Track 2 by Unknown Artist. And I got it in a very large royalty-free music track
Extremely
thing.
Descriptive.
We'll just see here real quick. We'll just do a quick little... Hey, You know how when we go stir crazy by not getting to kind of scratch our hobby itch, we make lists.
Yeah.
And we kind of like theory craft a lot, roll dice at a table and pretend like that's actual interactions happening. Turns out a lot of people like to be giant assholes. And that's how they see. As for the YouTube thing, I decided to wait until it was after 30 seconds from the intro to use the A word. Yeah, it's clever. But yeah, there's been a lot of assholes going about right now,
dude. There's been some gaping, dripping assholes.
It's been pretty bad.
40k community,
and from all over too. So there's been things like the very factually correct but inflammatory. The Necron Codex is the worst 9th edition codex ever.
Like, okay.
Which, before you start, factually correct.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Because there's only been 2 9th edition codexes.
Yeah, I know.
And the Space Marine is a hair better.
Kill yourself.
I mean, that's how I feel right now, to be totally honest. Like, it's just
for sure.
Like, I have been reading Necron groups, but I haven't been commenting unless I'm saying something like "you're a baby," or "shut up," or like "try playing some games," or as a reviewer, I find this to be factually inaccurate. Like, all those things are things that I've said.
Yeah, I like how you big dicked it by being like, as a reviewer.
Well, he said that the reviewers were being like overly generous with the Necron Codex.
I don't think we were, though.
No, I think it's fine. It's good.
I think the best thing I read on the Necron Codex was it's a continual evolution of the army based on the background story. And it really makes sense. So like the way it's playing is showing that kind of evolution. And the fact now is, and especially I think Space Marine showed this as well, like playing a Space Marine army with a 9th edition book is different than playing the 8th edition book. Like completely.
By a lot.
I
mean, I know my lists have changed quite a bit.
Right. And I know that, like, lol, all eradicators, like, and yeah, we're just going to do this and this and this. But still, like, it's different than what it was before. A lot of the things that you fall back on are gone. A lot of the old, like, combos are gone. And yeah, there's just new ones.
Sure.
And the other thing people were pointing out and kind of complaining about was how come Space Marines have like 4 times as many core choices as Necrons do? On which I use my very supportive big boy voice. And I was just like, who would imagine that the army consisting of highly trained and genetically modified super soldiers who drill and practice every day would be better. As brothers would be like better disciplined and would listen to people more than a bunch of rusting robots from like 10 millennia ago.
More than that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the particularly rusty ones were 10 millennia because of a leak. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
It's my own personal headcanon to justify my joke.
I see.
But yeah, the books aren't bad. They're just very different.
They are. And the Necron book, like, as I said in a post like this week, like the previous book had one build that was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Like, and it was pretty good. It wasn't great. It was only good. It was never like amazing because it was so random because of Doomsday Arcs and Knights and Doom Scythes, like having stupid random shots all the time. And like the Doomsday Arc didn't get any better. In fact, it got worse. I don't know. Maybe it's slightly better. It's like, at least it's probably a pretty lateral change for it. And the Doom Scythe got a lot better. But the Doomsday Arc definitely stayed the same. But like now, instead of that one build that was okay, now you have 4 builds that are all good.
Right. And this is just what we're seeing right now from not playing very much. And them not being used, as you have a breadth of options where like your old option doesn't work anymore necessarily.
Right.
But you need to look past that and realize it's an entirely new army and how it plays and the units that it has.
Right. And, okay, so it is a new army, but it's not a new army because like a lot of the stats stayed pretty same. Mm-hmm. Like they just got a lot of new units. So I don't know that it's fair to like be dismissive of people who have been in the trenches playing Necrons like for years.
Yeah.
And like kind of saying, oh, well, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I'll go with the word of Richard Siegler, King of Necrons.
Yeah. Yeah. Famed famed Tau Iron Hand player.
Right. Also King of Necrons.
Also King of Necrons.
He's a great player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, obviously. Like, he's much better than I am. And like but like, I don't know that he has like an in-depth knowledge of everything. And there's some people on the internet that are like very pro, like that Siegler view.
I think, and this is just such a free form but great segment right now, by the way. It kind of goes into the fact that when you have, and God, I hate this term, but 40K celebrities.
Sure.
Like, their word becomes law, right?
And it shapes the meta.
And it shapes the meta, and it shapes a lot of what people talk about. So when people come out and say, hey, this doesn't work, this isn't great, people listen. And people will take that as kind of the gospel truth.
And I think that there are a lot of builds that are still very good other than just like the pure canoptic build. I do think that the protocols are worth it, and they are not garbage. I think that there is plenty of good play to be had out of those. And it's worth it to play the same, like your army all as one faction instead of splitting stuff up. And that's kind of what the Necron Codex kind of convinces you to do. Like, Marines did it very, I'm trying to think of the word.
Shittily.
Well, no, I mean, so with the super doctrines, right?
Right.
It was like, I don't want to say heavy-handed, right? But like, it's kind of like very obvious. Like, right. Oh yeah, you should play the same faction unless you don't care about that benefit. Like, you should definitely play all White Scars or all Dark Angels or all Blood Angels.
Because the Super Doctrines were so good.
They're very good. They're very good.
Yeah.
So, anyway. So I think that there's a lot of play in that book. I think people are being way too negative about that book. And then I think that they're being even more negative towards the Space Marine book. Which, like, again, I don't get. Like, there are things that are very good in the Space Marine book, and there are things that are probably broken. Like, Plasma Inceptors are probably broken with Blast. Mm-hmm. Like, them getting Blast is such a stupid thing. They should not have that. And then... but
there's, like, hundreds of other little changes, like all the Pulsars losing Fly.
Oh, huge.
All the Pulsars not having -2 to charge naturally. Yep. Huge. And a lot of the... war gear becoming stratagems and stratagems becoming war gear.
Right.
We're just really going to have to up. And we were hearing rumors of this in like January, February, when the rumblings of like 9th edition first started coming. That you would have to be great at the game, you would have to focus on one faction to really master it. And we're seeing with these two books that they're so dense.
They're very deep. Yeah.
Like when we were recording them, like usually our reviews, like where we're going through the book, take about like an hour or so for the entire book. Each of these ones, like the Marine and the Necron one, took over 2 hours for each of them. And that's just because of the density of information and kind of the breadth of the changes and the options that are in both of those books there. It'd be sad when the Death Guard one's like 45 minutes. Because they added...
No, dude, that's going to be another super long review.
They're going to add the Lord of Virulence, remove everything else.
It's just
to call Lord it good. Yeah. Hey, I mean, we do have opinions, but they're quite all anecdotal gate.
It's Brantbot,
I know. So anecdotal. There was, again, going back to the thing of us having very nothing to do 40K wise, game wise, which would usually detract all of its energy away. On Comp40k last week, like friend of half the show, Falcon, came and said that like going first was statistically a better option, and I think 60% or 60% of games, if you go first, you win. Was it right?
I think that's roughly correct. I think this is on an ITC judges
or was on an ITC judges page or something like that there. But it was based off of a collection of data from around 6,000 games.
Yep.
Culled from the ITC Battles app. So yeah, it's free, but you're the product. So yeah, they're culling your data from that. Which the return came that because Mike Brandt had played 6 games and it was fine.
Yeah, he won all of his games going second.
Yeah,
against really good players.
Right.
But still,
which was like a little dismissive, but I think again the board internet community latched onto that so hard.
Man, did they love that?
The word anecdotal now makes me and Danny laugh. I've added my little anecdotal sound effect on the soundboard. It's great, and like I can see almost why, right? I mean, like the phrasing was meant to come across in a reassuring way, that like to kind of stop any kind of panic from the player base, where it was like, hey, we don't want everyone to be like thing, because there is like obviously variables between missions.
Sure.
There's variables between different armies choosing.
There's various variables between player skill, which is a big deal, and player familiarity with 9th edition in itself.
Right.
Like,
right. And so there's all of this here, and I think it was just trying to stop the narrative coming out that if you go first, you win, which was what was starting to happen.
Okay.
So I totally get where it was coming from, just the message of like, oh, and especially someone like Falcon, who is so lauded by the community as being like this figurehead of knowledge and stats. There was better ways to approach it than just dismissing everything. Because that bird spends a lot of time.
Oh, man. A lot of unpaid time.
A lot of unpaid time, like gathering this information. And he has, according to Goonhammer, a proprietary stat system, which was
Is
like,
that true?
That's what they put in their article. That he uses a proprietary status system.
I'm pretty sure it's Power BI.
Yeah. it's just games played divided by games won equals win percentage. I just see like Falcon walking along to people's like Excel spreadsheets and just putting a big C, like copyright or a big TM on there and be like, this is mine now. That's good. But I don't think it would have been as major a deal. It was
going to write an F with a circle around it for Falcon. It's been falconed.
But I don't think it would have been as major a deal if it wasn't for the fact that we've been cooped up for 7 months.
Oh my God, yeah. And then we're like making memes about it.
So many
like,
memes.
Oh, there's so many good memes.
So they were really good, and they all come from a place of love.
For sure.
But what do I know?
We love this game a lot.
We do.
We're very passionate about it.
There's a lot of passion coming out. And again, we've had people call the Newcron Codex the worst, and just lots of people.
And on the flip side of that, we have people looking at these Dark Angel rules.
Oh, yeah, that's originally what I wanted to talk about. That's for sure. Hey, Danny, did you know Deathwing are going to destroy the game forever?
Oh, I do now.
I mean, I think the great thing about this, and what we're talking about, is the changes with Storm Shields and some other keywords where I think, what's the combo now, Danny, with these guys?
Well, okay, so first of all, this combo has existed since 8th edition when the Dark Angels, when Ritual of the Damned came out.
False. Just ignore that previous information.
All right.
Truth isn't sexy in 40k MZ.
All right, so the way that the boost that this particular thing got was, okay, so Dark Angels have a stratagem where if you can deep strike or teleport strike a Terminator unit within 6 inches of a Raven, within, I think it's 6, maybe it's 3, of a Raven Wing unit, and they have to be 6 inches away from the enemy. So you get a pretty short charge, right?
Right.
Now, the Biker Chaplain, if he's taken in a Dark Angels list, gets the Ravenwing keyword. So he now is a Ravenwing biker, so that he can now qualify for that. He can also put up the plus 2 inches to charge aura.
So it's a 4-inch charge.
So it's a 4-inch charge out of Deep Strike. But I mean, I was using this in 8th edition with the Dark Angels list. Like, I use this. It's good. It's very good.
And now with the changes to Storm Shields on top of that as well, is kind of where it starts getting kind of crazy.
Well, it's not the Storm Shield. It's the Inner Circle rule that Deathwing all got. So first of all, people are saying like, oh, well, you can make a Dark Angel successor. They're going to get all this stuff. Well, sure, they will, but they won't get Inner Circle because you have to have the Dark Angels chapter tactic in order to count for Inner Circle. Mm-hmm. You either have to take that or you have to be a successor chapter with Inheritors of the Primarch. So you can't get another +1 to charge. You can't get like Whirlwind of Rage. So you get like 6s proc an extra hit, that kind of stuff. You can't do that. But you can put 10 Deathwing Knights into a squad like pretty easily. And since they are Inner Circle, all the things with the Inner Circle keyword, which is like all the Deathwing specific Terminators in the Dark Angel supplement and all of the special characters mostly, because they have to be infantry and have the Inner Circle keyword, they get transhuman physiology like all the time without having to spend any command points.
So now they're a 1+ save.
Yep.
4+ invulnerable save.
Correct. Three wounds.
3 wounds.
Yeah.
You can't wound them unless it's a 4+.
Right. They also, like the Deathwing Knights, also got +1 weapon skill. So their weapon skill 2+. So, and they have no -to hit Thunderhammers. That's their weapon.
The flail things, right?
Well, they have the Maces of Absolution, and then the champion has the flail, which is strength +2, -3, 2 damage. I think it's the same as the Death Guard flail,
but way worse because it's Dark Angels.
Agree to disagree.
I think this was the unit and kind of the discussion of this. It kind of drove me over the edge where I actually lashed out is the wrong words. I never really do that, but I was just like, okay, these guys are here. It's not changing. Instead of just spending hours bitching about the fact that they're here, how do you beat it?
Right.
What do you do?
And I think there's plenty of things that you can do to beat it. Yeah, like your plasma guns are going to be a lot less efficient. But I'll tell you what isn't any less efficient, pretty much. Stalker bolters.
Mm-hmm.
They're still really good against this unit. Because remember, their invulnerable save did go down by 1. Even though their armor save went up, as long as you're hitting them with AP -3, because that'll be 2, 3, 4. Yeah, if you're hitting with AP -3, they're going to their invulnerable save anyway. And so, you might be winning on 4s. Okay, so be it.
Yeah, who cares?
It's just you got to pump them full of shots, and they're going to be harder to take down. So, yeah, is that unit going to wreck a lot of armies? Yeah, if you don't screen well, is it going to ruin your day? Probably. But you should probably learn how to play better.
That's fair. Harsh but fair.
I mean, yeah, you gotta,
and that's free coaching from Danny, and usually he charges for the get good talk.
Yeah, that's at least $95,
and you just $96.50, just undercut just slightly. What do we have any other drama? I think that was it. It was a very drama-filled week.
God, it was so bitchy. Like, the internet sucks, man. Our community, I like a lot of parts about it, but there is a very vocal minority, I would say, who are just assholes and want to just complain about everything. And for the people that want to complain about everything,
kill yourself.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
I read a lot of 40k books, like a lot. That's kind of all I do. And I have been reading a lot of the Warhammer horror books, and one of them, called A Way Out, does my least favorite thing in the entire world. And it's where an AdMech character comes upon anything that's heretical or everything I know in my entire life tells me not to touch this with my soul explicitly, in that exact can't. I should not. I'm going to do it. I'm going to touch it. I'm going to put my whole body in it, and it's going to put its whole body inside of me. And then I'm going to explode. Physically. Emotionally. And spiritually. I'm going to explode. And then I'm going to die. As I die, I'm going to say some stupid cryptic shit to the main human character that everyone can relate to. Because everyone is a dumb meatbag, I guess. No one else wants to put glorious robotics inside of their bones. And skin, and organs, and soul. I don't know. No one wants to do that. No one can relate to that. So they all have to die. They all have to explode. They all have to explode and die. And it's the worst. It's my fucking least favorite thing in the world, dude. Just let them be smart. Please. I'm begging you. All right, so this character literally walks up, takes her fucking big spiky thing, plugs it in, and she's looking at the data feed. There's a furious clicking sound. It's just a furious clicking sound. That's how you know she's doing tech stuff. That's how you know. It goes on the entire 4-minute scene. She meets a demon, a literal demon. John, you are the demon. And it's like, hey, I know that if I touch this, I will die. I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, man.
I fucking hate it, dude.
Man, that's fun, Taylor. I was like, we could run ever. We could just run that 2 minutes we recorded of Taylor just raging on Warhammer horror for the tropes.
Just, he just feels for those Mechanicus characters. He really wants to get himself in there.
He does.
Yeah.
But hey, Danny, let's do some tactic talk.
Tactic talk.
Some big boss combos.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Man, I got
play
some
that music.
Dude, do I have some BBC for you?
So we talked earlier about how no, I have to cut this too. But we talked earlier about how the Necron Codex is out, and now instead of one build that either completely wrecked face or only did one shot to something, there's now several different viable builds depending on the style of play for the Necron army. And Danny has 3 different builds.
What?
Fingers crossed. From the new Necron Codex.
Oh man, I hope they're actually different enough.
The difference is instead of like 3 blocks of 20 warriors, it's 2 blocks of 30. But yeah, why don't you take us through some builds from the new book?
Yeah, sure. Okay, that's no problem. Because I've been building lists like a fiend. So I would say I build a list like at least, I don't know, I'd say I build like 3 lists a day probably. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Sure.
But
how come you don't send me any Death Guard lists or Khorne Demon lists?
I don't have time for that shit. I don't build shitty Chaos armies. Jesus.
It's fair.
So there's basically kind of 2 different archetypes that I've been looking at, and then kind of an in-between more balanced list.
Okay, so let's try the centrist list first.
Okay.
Like the balance.
So this is good because this is the list I'm going to bring against you this weekend, John, when we play.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, are you writing this down?
No.
I literally sent this to you in a text message, so you can, like, if you want to, you can just
okay. Just my follow-up questions will be many and numerous. But
okay.
Let's go. Okay.
All right. So I'm taking an Overlord. Okay. First of all, I'd just like to say right now I'm building all of my lists as just Nihilak because I like OBSEC, obviously, on all my shit.
sure.
Yep. And the double protocol is pretty good when you get it. It's actually, it's okay. It's fine. But I also like their stratagem quite a bit. And their stratagem is for 1 command point, an infantry unit can do an action and still shoot.
Which is really good.
It's very good. Especially when you don't want to waste a whole unit of 20 warriors doing something.
And then you look at a lot of the mission-based secondaries on that GT pack, a lot of them are actions.
Yep. Exactly. All right, so I got an Overlord. Okay. He's got the Relic Resurrection Orb, which is a relic that I quite like. I think it's pretty good. It's one of the only ways to get a 4+ reanimation. And then you get to do it on a whole unit, and they don't have to be core. They can be anything. So you just pick a unit, whatever's dead in it. You get to roll reanimation dice for it, and whatever comes back on 4s instead of 5s, which is great. And then I've got 2 Technomancers, both with Canoptic control nodes. One of them has the failsafe override.
Okay.
Which gives a Canoptic unit within 6 inches +1 attack, or if it's a monster, plus D3 attacks. And then I also paid command points for a warlord trait for him called Thrall of the Silent King. And so what this does is it gives him +3 inches to the range of his auras and some of his abilities. So now he gives a 9-inch bubble of +1 to hit for all my Canoptic units and a 9-inch bubble of for the failsafe generator.
That's pretty good.
Which is pretty great.
I mean, I know for my list, I'm trying to find a way to fit in like the relics to do like the extra 3 inches, but everything I want to take it on already has another relic.
I know. And God, you're just praying for those 3 inches. I know you are.
Hell yeah. Almost average.
Every day. So, and then my last Cryptek. I'm sorry. My bad. The one with the Thrall of the Silent King does in fact not have the +3 inches to auras. I gave that to the other one with the Canoptic control node. And he hangs back with the Doomstalkers. And the reason that I did this is so that I can spread out the Doomstalkers further, because he has a 9-inch aura from either side of him. And then I gave him the Prismatic Obstrification, which is the it's the old character targeting rules basically. So unless he's the closest target, you can't shoot at him at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can spread him out without having to keep him within 3 inches of another unit. And you can't shoot at him, which is great.
Right, especially because he's buffing those 3 big guns on those bros.
Exactly. And rules that ignore Lookout Sir, which is pretty much all the sniper rules. They don't get to ignore that, so they can't snipe him either, which is great. So then I have the other one with the Canoptic control node and the failsafe generator. I paid a point to give him the Voltaic staff because that's like the best shooting round. It's so good. It's a staff of light that's an extra damage for both close combat and shooting, and it has Tesla. So any 6s you roll to hit count as 2 extra hits, and it has an extra shot. So it's like 4 strength 6 shots that Tesla. It's great. Anyway, so those are my characters. Then I've got a unit of, let's see, 2 units of 20 2 units of 20 warriors, 1 unit of 5 immortals. 5 immortals just to get that extra troop choice so I can fulfill a battalion. Then I have 1 unit of 3 canoptic spiders, 1 gloom prism, and then they all have the particle blasters or particle beamers. I forget what the name of that one is. But that unit throws out like 36 shots at strength 5 with no AP, but it's still just shots that you get, and you can advance it. Yeah, they're all assault weapons, so you can advance and fire them. They're great. And they get +1 to hit from the Cryptek being close to them as well for shooting. So that's good. So they hit on 3s or 4s if they advance. And then I've got 3 units of 9 scarabs. You'll find that this is a pretty standard choice for me. I really like to take 27 scarabs. I think that's one of the best choices in the book.
And what makes them so good?
Well, so they get OBSEC from their Dynasty trait, and they are 4 wounds apiece. They get reanimate, so potentially if you kill several of them in one go, there's a chance I could bring one back. If you kill 3 of them, chances are I bring one back, which is rad, especially for a model with 4 wounds. So it's like and they're 15 points a base. So for 15 points, you get 4 wounds. It's like the cheapest wound in the game almost, or pretty close to it. So for like a little over 400 points, I get over 100 wounds worth of models, which is great. And they're fast. They move 10 inches and they fly, so you can't even trap them or anything like. I mean, I could just go on and on.
To rename it to Danny's like Scarab Love Song.
Danny's Scarab Love Quest. That's a different thing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And then I've got 3 Canoptic Doomstalkers as my heavy support choices, and so those hang out and blow stuff up that's dangerous. So the way this army plays is it kind of plays a board control game. It goes and just tries to hold objectives and tries to kick you off of them. So that's how that list works.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't kill a ton, but it's tough enough to survive.
What do you think it's going to struggle against? Or kind of where do you see kind of the struggles for a list like this? Because you're going like super board control where, you do have like a lot of stuff 50-50 chance of getting back up. You have some solid heavy support from those Doomstalkers, and in a way that's buffed that you have to really focus down and make a plan to take down that Cryptic because you can't just shoot him.
Right, you got to kind of go after him with like a
so you have to like give something to give that up. So there's a lot of positives there. What worries you?
Let's see here. I would say armies that are like board control but want to hold the middle that are close combat armies might be tough, because they could just dice through all the wounds that I have, because I have like 150 wounds worth of just like objective secured, like trying to go for the center of the table, like control the center of the table. I think that could be problematic. I think just an army that can really shoot well would be hard to deal with. So like a knight army might be kind of tough, because I don't have a ton of recourse against knights, especially if they kill the spiders and the Doomstalkers. Those are kind of the 2 things that I have against big stuff, because the spiders throw out like usually about 7 attacks each, hitting on 3s, and their strength 8 -3, 2 flat damage. So I mean, they'll kill stuff, like, and they'll beat stuff up in close combat, but I mean, it's not ideal. So I think those kinds of armies could be difficult. But I think that I can play around it if I play better than them. I know that's like kind of a
get good. Yeah, this is general advice. So this is kind of our middle of the road list. Your thing is going to be really good, where we're talking about board control, resiliency, and kind of some like little tricks to keep things buffed. What else have you got? Like if we go to kind of the other end of the spectrum there.
So the other end of the spectrum that I have is pure horde.
And 120 wounds worth of models is not pure horde.
No.
Okay, so what grossness have you got for pure horde Necrons?
So let's see. So my pure horde Necrons is instead of the 2 units of 20 warriors, it's 3 units of 20 warriors.
Cool.
But also 40 flayed ones.
I love those so much. Oh my gosh.
And the 27 scarab bases.
Yeah. Can I just point out real quick, when someone said online, like, they didn't understand why flayed ones weren't core, and my response was like, you don't know why like insane robots who listen to no one wouldn't listen to someone.
I know, it's shocking, right?
Shocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's 100 models right off the bat.
Yep.
Of just very easy to reanimate warriors and those flayed ones.
And the flayed ones are the exact same defenses wise as the warriors are. And so this drops one of the technomancers for a chronomancer, because they're really good at that stuff, and then also a psychomancer. Mm-hmm. So I have 3 cryptechs and an overlord are my HQs. And that's basically it. So it's like 60 warriors, 40 cryptechs, 27 scarab bases,
40 flayed ones.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 60 warriors, 40 flayed ones. What did I say?
Cryptechs.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, let me see that 4-sword chart.
Just 4. There's no more Supreme Command, guys. Sorry. I got confused for a second. Yeah, so it's like 100 one-wound models plus 27 scarab bases, and it just like kind of eats itself up the table, and it's like, okay, I count for double for objective secured with the warriors. All my flayed ones are. If you want to come take it, I'm going to charge you with flayed ones, and flayed ones actually do good damage. Mm-hmm. Like, they're pretty solid. And yeah, sometimes I'll even kill stuff with the warriors and shooting and that kind of thing.
Fingers crossed. Now, so where does this one struggle? Where obviously, again, you're looking at a board presence list. You're looking at mass objective secured, where each body kind of counts for 2. You're not necessarily killy on this list, but it's just kind of very hard to deal with over the kind of the length of time of the game. So what are some kind of struggles you see with a list like this?
So the struggles that I see with this list are going to be where your opponent actually has a unit that can kill your entire army.
Oh,
like, because there are things like Deathwing Knights.
Yeah. Very fair, balanced Deathwing Knights.
Because 30 attacks that hit on 2s and wound on 2s, like, will probably kill a bunch of Necron warriors, to be honest.
Anecdotal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
right.
welcome. Yeah. So that, like, kind of big attacks like that there.
And then, like, I probably won't be able to do enough damage back to them to make it count, I guess. Mm-hmm. Would be my worry. Although I think flayed ones probably do okay into that if you have some way to get some extra AP, which you can do a couple of different ways in that book. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there's that.
Okay. And then the other side, so we've gone for of medium. We've gone for
Stompy?
Mass Horde.
Yeah.
You got a Monster Mash Necron list too?
So in this one, I'm really interested in playing. I really want to try this one out. So we're going to start with my baseline, 27 Scarabs.
Of course.
Dude,
did your last list have 27 Scarabs too?
Yeah.
Okay, so
it has 100 infantry and 27 Scarabs.
Okay, so let's just assume that all Necron lists as a base should have 27 Scarabs.
I don't know if they all should, but all mine do. So yeah. I think they're... If you're not going to take 27, you should take 15.
Yeah.
Or if you need to take extra fast attacks, just take an Outrider. Don't be a bitch. Just take an Outrider, pay the command points. You're going to want the Scarabs.
The HQs are good enough. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're fine. So this list is the core detachment is a super heavy detachment.
Cool.
So the super heavy detachment has the Silent King.
Okay.
And then 2 monoliths.
So this is your pay to win one because that's already $600 worth of models.
No, it's not. It's like $500 worth. It's $490 retail, and I definitely am not paying retail. So 2 monoliths, the Silent King, and I made them Nihilak, the detachment Nihilak, because you can do that because the Silent King as a dynastic agent doesn't count against you.
Right.
So you still get to take objective secured monoliths.
Which is great because they're now like 28 wounds or whatever it is.
24. But yeah, you're right.
2-up save.
Yep.
A very large footprint with fly.
Hell yeah, son.
Yeah.
And then I have an Outrider.
Okay.
So keep in mind, I'm spending 9 command points on detachments with this list, but I get 3 back for the Silent King. So really, I have 6, and 6 is okay. Mm-hmm. So my Outrider is the 27 Scarabs.
Sure.
And then I have 20 Warriors as well, and then 2 Chronomancers.
Okay.
And the Chronomancers are there to give the monoliths a 5+ invulnerable save. Actually, no, it was a toss up. So it can be 2 Chronomancers or 1 Chronomancer and 1 Cryptech with a Canoptic Cloak. so he can repair one of the monoliths D3 damage every turn. Like so just fly around him. And
you would have like one giving one an invulnerable, and then the other repairing the other, and kind of maybe switching for it depending on.
Or depending on if one was critical, it could be both of them on that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that list wins the game by blowing your opponent off the table, and just kind of like it's board control, but it's also has a ton of damage output. And like you have to deal with the monoliths and the Silent King. You don't get to pick between the two of those because they do enough damage that you can't really ignore them.
Right.
I feel like.
So where does this list struggle?
I think this list struggles against armies that are better at board control than you are. Just like if they have or they have a ton of anti-tank. Like I could see this being an issue if your opponent took like 15 eradicators. That being said, I've done the math on this, and even if I start the monoliths within range of the eradicators, which I definitely don't have to, and they for their double shot. Like I don't care if they advance and shoot me. That's like they're gonna do dick. But
It's real good.
Yeah. So like average two squads or a squad of eradicators does about 10 damage to a monolith if they move up and shoot at long range. Not when they're when they're close, it's a whole different thing. But when they're at long range, they're doing that much damage, and that's not great. No. Like 10 damage is not that much because the monolith is going to heal one on its turn, and then I'm going to maybe heal it another D3.
Maybe you're going to save one of those as well, and then
yeah. Well, so I took that in. So the nice thing is like first turn and second turn actually, if I want to, I can use because the Silent King's my warlord, so I can reuse the same stratagem, right? For the same protocol. So I can use the protocol that gives me cover if I don't move. So if I go second, I can choose to use the cover. I can do cover and then cover. So like I'm going to get 2 rounds of cover and a monolith with a 1+ armor save. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Like turns out that's pretty good. And like I'm getting 4+ save versus -3 AP or a 5+ save against other stuff. So I don't even have to chronomancer those to get a 5+ save more or less against -4 AP. Now when they're in Insult Doctrine, then that's when I'm going to want to give them the invulnerable save for sure. Anyway, but you can kind of play around them. There's a lot of cool stratagems to like teleport warriors out of strategic reserve to a monolith and just have them like pop out and they can act like normal, so they can blow something, or not act like normal, but they can come out and blow something away that's close to it or something like that.
Or can they be teleported, come out, blow something away, and still do an action?
Yes.
Because of your stupidness. I mean, sorry, the Nihilak.
Because that's how they roll, dude. Monoliths are cool in so many ways. Like, yeah, they can shoot into combat, and that's really neat. But since they're a Titanic unit, they can also fall back and still shoot. Because that's one of the rules that Titanic units have. So, which is awesome. I'm happy the monolith has something going for it for sure. And then you also have to worry about the Silent King, who will absolutely kill your army if you let him. Like, he's a one-man wrecking ball, and he can kill 2 squads a turn probably pretty easily. So, yeah. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to the monoliths, or pay attention to the scoring units. Your choice.
Well, you awful GW shill 3 different army lists, all containing all of the different new models. Like you have you have like your dual monolith Silent King one, your Flayed one, you have your Doomstalker one.
Yep.
But like a lot of different ways to play Necrons. And if you guys like, I should maybe try and put the army list or something up back there. We'll definitely post these lists. Let us know what you're going to play too. It's a whole new scary world of robot killer things going out there. It's a weird Necron world. We'll be right back, maybe.
Dude, I'm the best. I took first place at another tournament.
First off, stop with the thunder and lightning. You don't impress me. And second, let me check out the BCP rankings. And I don't see you on there.
What?
Your TO needs to download the Best Coast Pairings app and run events on it. After the event, the results are uploaded into BCP rankings, and the best part, it's easy and free.
But I play multiple game systems.
No big deal. The BCP app can be used for any game. A ton of events every weekend are using it. from major international tournaments to local stores. And now that it's available on Android devices, you're going to have some serious competition.
There can be only one.
BCP Rankings is a fun and exciting way to measure
how you or your team stack up.
No matter what you play, your score goes to an overall ranking. Or compete to be the best in a game, a circuit, a region, or the world.
Download the app or visit www.bestcoastpairings.com for more info.
Best Coast Pairings.
Are you the best?
I am the best, Danny.
You are?
It's something, I'm sure. My mom says anyway. It's certainly not 40K.
First of all, I can tell you that she definitely doesn't talk about you.
That's fair. Hey, we have a Discord. It does some great things.
Oh my God, it's so cool.
It's so cool. This time, the last 2 weeks on Discord, we posted up an exclusive video. You heard the audio earlier of Taylor, who is one of our good friends and teammates, describing the plot of one of the Warhammer horror stories.
Yeah, I think we might try and have him on a little bit more to do some like lore stuff.
He will be on a lot more for lore stuff because we kind of figured that out with him for sure. Because
oh man, he's so good.
He's very passionate about it,
as you will tell from the clip.
As you can tell from the clip. But if you wanted to see that to video, not necessarily Taylor's face, but a fine collection of stock images that I curated,
ruthlessly stole from the internet.
That's available through our Discord. Our Discord you get access to via Patreon. Give us $1, instantly cancel the Patreon to stop giving us money.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Like, well, give it to us once and then
give it to us once and then you're there for life.
Cancel the check.
Charge back to your bank.
Absolutely. Mob Rules stole this from us.
Sure did. We stole your identity. But that gets you access to our Discord. We have a great community in there of just amazing painters, players, super positive place.
Oh, yeah.
And just if you're in a hobby funk, there's people who will pull you out if you want advice on your list.
They will pull out.
They will pull out all day, all long. And then also, right after we do our Codex reviews, I make sure Danny's available to answer any and all questions about said books. Ahead of time. So if you want to know what has what keyword, if you want to message Danny at 5 p.m. your time, which happens to be like 2 a.m. his time, and wake up his wife, for sure do that.
Sure, or steal my face.
Oh yeah. One of our one of our patrons on Discord just uses Danny's face as a profile picture now. Which
hell yeah,
keep doing that. If we could just have everyone join our Discord, change their name to Danny. All have the same face, so we would have no idea who we were talking to.
I am just vain enough for that to be an excellent idea.
You should absolutely do that. But no, we have Voltanus, who continues producing just amazing quality.
He was featured on Games Workshop's like hobby stream. His Death Guard looks so good.
Yeah, he is. You know, on Twitter, his handle is Drybrush Lord.
Yeah, right.
And I called him out on it. Like I saw something of his go up because I follow him because his stuff is gorgeous. And then I looked at his handle. I'm like, I said, "Why the fuck are you called Drybrush King?" And he's like, "It's an old handle." And it was like, "Yeah, maybe you change it to Edgelord now because that's what he is."
Edgelord. He's gonna get a pet snake.
A little trilby, yeah. But yeah, for about 3 weeks, he did a Death Guard a day where he painted it to Battle Ready, which his Battle Ready is my painted plus
master class. Yeah. No
but then he improved it with some edge highlighting and showed them off every day, and it was amazing the stuff he does. And now, obviously, to taunt me, he's also started painting corn things at a much higher quality than I can ever hope to do.
How did that make you feel, John?
Man, pretty good because his stuff is amazing.
It looks really cool. Yeah.
It's super, super cool. And then we have.
I'm glad he's sharing his hobby stuff, and you're not sharing yours.
No, I'm glad too. It makes me know. No, I'm kidding. Everyone's like super supportive.
Oh yeah, of course. Your stuff looks great, man.
We have John's Jank Junction, where I just post my list. We have Danny's Big Boss Combos, where he posts his list.
A lot of pictures.
Lots of pictures. Yeah, just lots of pictures of BBCs all over the place. Aubergine reacts only in that chat. That's that purple icon fruit.
That's a fucking eggplant.
Aubergine. No. This is this cultural kind of break right here. I'm guessing.
So disappointed in you.
Is what it is. And then check us out on YouTube. We post up a couple segments from every episode. Hopefully I've done something with this green screen behind me. Otherwise, I'm going to be really mad that 2 weeks in a row I've set it up and had nothing to do with it. And then also look at our reviews. We put out reviews of the Space Marine Codex, split into two, the data sheets in one, everything else in the other. It is a massive book, which is well worth any kind of purchase. We also did the same with the Newcron book, which is
a better book and a better purchase.
Well, objectively, it's the worst codex ever released in 9th. Let's just put it this way here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because I didn't have Brandbot lined up. That is entirely my fault here.
Here, we'll just wait for you. No, take your time, John. Okay. This isn't, people aren't listening to this for
Kill yourself.
I was drinking at this point, so that obviously wasn't me. If you have
the ventriloquist,
if you have ideas what you want us to do on the podcast, put it there. A lot of all of our only good ideas come from other people. And we thank them.
Mercilessly leech off of you for every bit of content that we possibly can.
Hell yes.
Yes, that is our MO.
It's COVID season and daddy needs content. And by God, I'm going to get it by hook or by crook. Mostly by crook.
Yeah, I would say
I gotta say.
Yeah. Because of the stealing.
Because of the stealing and the no actual things. Oh, you know what someone did that I completely forgot about?
What is that?
One of our listeners made a MetaWatch generator, and we didn't even talk.
Oh my God, how could we not talk
We forgot about MetaWatch, the new series by Mike Brandt.
Kill yourself.
About
No, hold on. For be clear,
okay,
Brandtbot is in no way a depiction of Mike Brandt.
No. Bradbot is spelled BRADTBOT. Even though I think in a previous Bradbot.
Oh, okay.
The N is silent.
I see.
It's no way a depiction.
N.
But yeah, as part of their community outreach and to kind of reach out to the competitive community, which is a good thing that they're doing.
Absolutely, yes.
They interviewed coaching superstar and bar line cutter Nick Nanavati.
Brick Nanavati.
Yeah, asked him about kind of like his games, and they came up with these really cool stat cards, like esports style stat cards, which showed kind of like without. I think the thing that infuriated me the most about them is it had no key whatsoever to denote what it is.
No. And there's no, I mean, you can't even tell like what percentage it's at, right?
Right. So Nick is sort of filled in early game, but really filled in late game.
His late game is real good.
Real good. Filled in.
He's a real finisher, that one.
He's a real finisher. I think
start is a little rocky.
Which I think you experienced in your game against him at Charity Hammer. Does that line up against?
Yeah. I had an early lead, and then he caught up and surpassed me.
Yeah. And so, but it's a super cool thing to do. But one of our listeners, Tobias, made a generator where you fill in your stats and you can make your own MetaWatch card.
With your own picture pasted
on top of bar cutting asshole Banana Vati's face. I think the meme I made of the MetaWatch.
I don't think Nick is an asshole. I mean, you can. I understand why you feel.
I don't think he's an asshole. I just think he doesn't know line etiquette.
True.
Which in itself is an asshole thing.
I think he big dicked you, and I get why that would be frustrating.
I think he didn't even realize I was there.
Probably.
And it wasn't thing, but I like the memes I made about it was like I took his MetaWatch card.
Yeah.
And when it said known for, I just put in cutting in line at a bar. And the joke, and you know when I do like ironic jokes and I 100% commit to it, is I refuse to acknowledge anything else he's done.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is Nick Nanavati, the guy who cuts in front of people in bars.
That's the only thing
he's known for. And that's my truth. So it's going to be everyone else's truth. But yeah, make your own there. It gives you your cool little own nickname as well. Obviously we have Danny the Eagle here. We have Falcon. Mm-hmm. Mine randomly generated into the Dove, apparently,
that's not true.
Which is cool because I guess that's a sign of peace and giving
You're
up.
a very peaceful man.
Very peaceful man. You're not angry
never
whatsoever.
vindictive or anything like that.
Well, no, never am. I can't even answer to that.
I was waiting for you to have some kind of a sound effect, like to shush me, but
no, I can't shush that because, well, I'm not vindictive all the time.
No, that's true.
But
when it counts,
when I'm given the opportunity or reason to be,
when it presents itself to me,
like I'm not the best in the world at Warhammer, but I'm one of the top shit talkers in the world.
Very good shit talker. I agree with that. Probably the best in competitive 40K. You heard it here, folks. So, John Quinnell.
Yep.
John shit talker Quinnell.
I told you I'm the best at something. I didn't know what it was, but now I know.
For real it is.
I think I walked up like we were talking about this earlier. We had a game in a tournament. We were paired against each other, and it was after a lunch break, and we went and got drunk on the lunch break.
Oh man, how great was that?
And Danny was like sitting unloading his army onto the table, and I just kind of saunter up to the table and like, well, look at this piece of shit right here.
And that started it off, and it was a good game.
It was really well because we both had that kind of attitude where we were just like, well, fuck you. But there was also a game where like who would win in a fight? 3 like giant mutant plague burst crawler tanks or one dude with a fucking stop sign, because the answer surprised me, let me tell you.
Like I told you, man, he told you to stop.
He did. And I did.
He signaled you even.
I stopped existing, therefore following the sign incredibly well.
No, you kept blowing up the plague burst crawlers to kill my aberrants. Do you remember that?
I kept using CP to blow them up to kill like single aberrants.
Yep.
Never 9 loco before a game.
Before a real game, yeah.
Because you're guaranteed to make bad choices. I think what it was, I looked at our lists and kind of matched them up together and was like, okay, let's have fun with this. Because you had like 60 to 90 gaunts in the backfield that did nothing all game.
120.
You had 100. They didn't do anything. They just sat back.
They didn't have to.
No. And then you had Carnibro.
Old One
Eye, who just wrecked the shit of all my other stuff. And I made the very smooth brain move of trying to walk my Terminators up the table.
Yeah, but you killed Old One Eye, didn't you?
Yeah, and all it took in exchange was an entire Terminator, a Blight Lord squad. Check out the big brain on John.
Man.
It's a real fair trade.
Hard to miss.
I ignored your entire army to kill one character you wanted me to kill. Oh boy. That's okay. My brain is slightly more wrinkled now. More experience, all that other kind of fun stuff.
It's got a lot more wrinkles.
A lot more wrinkles since I stopped jumping from army to army. Yeah, that's about all we have. As you can tell from our past 5 minutes of rambling, remembering about that one time we played. But it was a great game. Always fun times.
For sure.
Yeah. So, comment, don't comment, listen. If you made it this far, God bless you.
Yeah, bless you.
We love you all. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll actually have good stuff in 2 weeks, as opposed to the last 6 months where we haven't. So yeah, for Mob Rules, I've been John.
I've been Danny.
And we'll see you next time.
Anecdotal. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh, yeah, turn on, I see red. Adrenaline crash and crack my head. Nitro junkie, paint me dead. And I see red. 100 plus through black and white. War horse, warhead. Fuck a man, white knuckle tight. Through black and white. Ooh, on I burn. Fuel is pumping engines. Burning hard, losing clean. And I burn, churning my direction. Quench my thirst with gasoline. So give me fuel, give me fire. Give me that which I desire. Hey, turn on beyond the bone. Swallow future, spit out home. Burn your face upon the chrome. Yeah, take the corner, join the crash. Headlights, headlines. Another junkie lives too fast. Ya lives way too fast. Fast, fast. Ooh, on I burn. Fuel is pumping engines. Burning hard, losing clean. And I burn, churning my direction. Quench my thirst with gasoline. So give me fuel, give me fire. Give me that which I desire. Ooh, ya hat, white knuckle tight. Give me fuel, on I burn, on and on. Give me fire, on I burn, on and on. My desire, on I burn, on and on. Ooh, on I burn. Fuel is pumping engines. Burning hard, losing clean. And I burn, churning my direction. Quench my thirst with gasoline. So give me fuel, give me fire. Give me that which I desire. Ooh, on I burn. Kill yourself.